morning, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to Life Beyond the Clouds. And I really want to thank Susan for coming on. And Susan, I really want to give you a chance to talk about your beautiful son, Eric, and the messages that you receive from him, because this is all about trying to heal each other. And I really wanted to do these podcasts because there's so many people that are where you are right now that are on the first day of your journey. And these stories are going to help all these people to get through. I have so many people write it in and tell me how much this is helping them. So I want you to be able to talk about your son and who he was and the messages that you receive, because I know that you do. And I think it's very important for people to understand. They'll come to us differently, but maybe the way you explain it also will help other people to understand that they're receiving them also. So I'd like you just to go ahead and just talk about your son and your life and who he was and the messages that you receive.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Susan Moore, and I lost my son, Eric Ryan Moore, on January 14th, 2022. And I'd like to talk about his crossing first.
Okay.
And at the time, I did not know he was in perfect health. He was living in Florida, living a good life, working. And I was driving to my daughter's on the way I live here in Maryland, on the way to Virginia. It was Friday evening. I thought I was literally having a heart attack. I said, if this pain in my heart does not stop, I am going to have to go to the hospital. I remember breathing and breathing. I began listening to religious music and praise music. And so I'm breathing and breathing. I'm thinking, and all of a sudden the pain stopped. And then I went to my daughter's for the weekend and had a wonderful time. And then when I got home, I used to always call my son on Sunday morning and I couldn't get a hold of him. And I was just calling and calling and calling. Then I called his landlord and she said, we're going to go do a wellness check because on camera, we haven't seen Eric since Wednesday. And of course, they went in and they found him on his bed. He had died of a heart attack and he was 30 years old. And it was devastating for me. Nothing is wrong with me. I have no heart condition, no high blood pressure. So I want to make sure the audience knows there was nothing in my background to indicate that I had any type of heart problem. What I believe that was the breaking of the bond. That was the breaking of the life cord, because I believe that we are corded to, especially to people we love, and especially as a mother is to her child. So I believe that was the breaking of the cord, and Eric had transitioned to the next life, to heaven. When talking with my daughter about this, she had also experienced a lot of stomach upset, throwing up, and I believe that was also Eric breaking of the cord and Eric, passing, because again, she was in perfect health. The signs that I have received have been numerous. It was when Eric passed away, it was surreal. I was in deep, deep, deep grief. And I thought, this is just beyond imagination. I've never in my life experienced such pain. He was a wonderful young man. He did have a difficulty with drug use, but he had really worked through that, through a lot of, he went to rehab and just was moving forward with his life. And he was a loving, kind son. And I was so proud of him and privileged to be his mother. He had overcome quite a bit in his life. And once again, through the power of strength and perseverance and prayer, he was just a remarkable young man. A couple of the signs I've received have been, first of all, I had a visitation. And when I had found a picture of him when he was in first grade and a school picture of his class, that night when I had gone to sleep, it was a vivid dream. I was in his room and he was sitting on his bed. It's right here in my house. He was sitting on his bed, bathed in white, and had a big smile on his face. And I was a little surprised to see him. And I said, "Hi, Eric." I said, "I found this picture of you from Quail Run."
Oh, it's okay. Take a moment.
"And I would like to share it." And he had this big smile on his face. I said, I want to tell you all about it. And what I want your audience to know, it was incredible peace. I mean, he was just joyful, surrounded by light. And I just felt so much better as a result of that. Oftentimes, when I deep meditation and I was really depressed and sad, and I heard him this is another time, I heard him clearly say to me, finish your story, Mom, finish your story. And so that gave me encouragement. I have found feathers, and I put a garden in for him, a flower garden, where I put some
Mhm.
of his ashes, and I would just finish the garden. And I was sitting there and I was saying to myself, Eric, I really hope you like your garden. It has a little sign that says Eric's Garden and a little ceramic that he had made in high school. And all of a sudden, out of the blue, and this hummingbird, a big hummingbird came that was gray and black. And it came right up to, like, very close to me. And I knew that was a symbol, a signal. It was him. And he was saying, I love the garden, Mom. I love the garden. He was a bodybuilder, so he was a good sized young man. And he always used to wear a gray and black hat. So I knew it was him. I knew it. These are just some of the signs. One day I had his
Wow.
memorial card sitting on my table. And then I
Mhm.
looked over, and this was like a miracle. And I saw like a rainbow
Mhm.
across his picture. And I knew, I said, he's good, he's good, he's good. And I can feel him. One day I found a feather, like, when is this going to happen? A feather in my office. It was just, and I picked up the feather because I took it home. Where a white feather looks about that big. I said, where? I knew where that it was from him. Just saying, Mom, you're good. I'm here. I'm here with you. I'm helping you and guiding you and helping you. And so these are some of the things that I want to encourage others, that even though they're not here physically, they're here. We just can't see them in the reality that we're used to seeing. I get, lights flicker when I get that message a lot. And I feel his presence when I'm praying, or when I just need him and call him. I feel him. I know he's with me. When my daughter got married, he had a big picture of him sitting, we put his big picture in a chair,
Mhm.
and I knew he was there. I recently graduated from Johns Hopkins, and Eric was actively recruited to go to Johns Hopkins because he's very, very smart. And of course, he didn't get the opportunity to go, but I went and I graduated. And that night, he was there. I felt him there. His presence was all around me saying, good job, Mom. Good job.
Mhm.
The reason why we grieve is because love came first.
Oh,
And,
Susan,
you know,
what you have done today, I can't thank you enough. And I want to keep letting you talk because everything you're saying is so beautiful. And when it comes from the person like you that has experienced this,
mhm.
you're helping so many people right now. You're going to touch so many lives of people that hear this. And I really want to start allowing people to tell their stories more. I love giving the messages, but it's also so very important for people to hear them from you and what you're experiencing because everyone does receive them. They receive them differently. I always say it's never a comparison because your souls will come to you in the way they feel you will understand. So you might get feathers, sense, and feel. Somebody else might find change coin. It depends what your connection, how they're going to come to us the way we want them to, right? And the way they know that we are connecting when they do this. And this is why I can't thank you enough for the courage and for the love and the kindness that you're showing to help people and to do this. And the way you're talking about your son, it's so beautiful. He's still here, and you know that. And this is how you know this about him, and this is what is so beautiful, and it's going to help other people on this journey because really only truly someone that's been through this can really understand it. I receive messages to pass on to help to heal people, and that's what I do, right? Because I always say I made a promise to God, and I want to help people divinely to be connected because I want them to be healed on their everyday. I want to open them up. So I just love sitting back and listening to you to understand talk about him. But as before we even talked, I even did have down sign and bird. He kept showing me you had a sign for him and bird, and I had down flowers. and he had me write down Nat. So I don't know who
Yes.
this is for you. I have Nat.
Yeah,
Is
that
there?
Natalie is his sister. Yeah, he called her Nat or Nat dog. Yeah, he called
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. But I just am enjoying listening. And I think people really want to hear from you. I think it's important for people that are where you are right now to understand your journey of healing. So I want to just sit and let you talk about him more in the signs because this is what I want to do. I want everyday people to talk about their signs.
One of the things I think is so incredibly poignant is that, like you mentioned, Renee, that I have also found coins. One day I found out of the blue, and this is when after Eric passed away, I was just so, I don't know how this happened, but I know how it happened, is I sent him a birthday card. And all of a sudden in the mail, like months later, how this could have happened, I do not know. But the card came back to me, returned to sender. And I had mailed it. He died in January and his birthday was in July. So how this occurred, I do not know. And then of course I felt terrible. I said, "Oh my God, my son didn't get his last birthday card in July." But then I thought, no, no, this was Eric telling me, I'm good, mom. I'm good. I'm just, and that was just so, so miraculous. When he passed away, we also put some of his ashes down in his grandmother's farm at a bridge where, and this is so unbelievable when I tell you this story, on a bridge that he and his grandfather built when Eric was 16. And my mother walks down there, all the time. And she said to me, she said, Susan, you are not going to believe what has grown down where we put Eric's ashes, part of his ashes, because my mother put a little statue of an angel. She said, a beautiful, beautiful white rose bush.
Oh my.
And I said, oh, mom, I am so happy to hear that. So once again, it's wild roses, but of all the places to grow, right there. And that is
That's
just,
beautiful.
it just gave me such peace. So these are again some of the miracles, and I call them miracles because I
Mhm.
think when our loved ones cross over, whether it be a child or a family
Yeah.
or another family member, they don't want you to forget because they know the grief is going to be overwhelming. And they want to wrap love around you and let you know that they are okay and
Yes.
they're waiting and also they're helping us and not to be afraid to open up and listen to the messages that are coming in and don't like go, oh, poo poo, that's not happening, or maybe I dreamt that, or whatever. No, this is real, and to honor that. And so I try to honor my son every day by I'm in education, and I just try to honor him every day by loving the children that I come in contact with.
And Susan, this is what's so important about doing this and trying to help people on their everyday life because when we're absent in our heart and mind of knowing there's more, this is where depression and anger and sadness comes in. When you think that this is all there is and that there isn't anything else after this world, you have to ask yourself, where did you come from before you were here? We came from somewhere,
Right.
right? There is so much more, and heaven is a real place. And everyone is together and they divinely love us. And they are always wanting to show us signs. When we understand the sign, it's like giving somebody a gift, right? And you get excited, and the person is so happy to see that you loved what they gave you, right? They are complimenting somebody. They want to keep doing what you complimented. Well, heaven, when they understand that we know the signs and we recognize it to be them, whatever it is for anyone, then they want to keep giving us more because they want us to have the peace. They want us to know that they are with us and that they love us and that they haven't left. They've just gone back to where they came from. They've gone back to heaven. And your son Eric, it's amazing how present for you. And I love how much you recognize the signs with him, and you can feel his energy with you right now, and he's just so happy that you're still communicating with him and you understand it because the love never goes, right? You cannot kill or destroy energy. It is eternal. And he helps your daughter. He's always watching over her. He's so proud of her. This is your son is just a beautiful soul, and he's so with your grandmother. He's so, do you understand?
Yes.
He's so with her, so present with her. And the love for you is so incredible when they come in together. It is this amazing bond that they're helping you with every single thing that you're going through, even on your daily life right now, is what they show me. That, and you know it, that you wake up and you almost communicate with them immediately. You reach out every morning is what they show me.
Mhm.
And you just say, thank you for the signs. I'm ready for them. Help me with this. And so they are helping you with everything in your life. And you could have not told your story more beautifully. The way you have discussed him and the signs, it is so incredible. And I just thank people, and I thank you so much for wanting to talk about him and talk about the signs, because this is what this is about. We're all in this together, and everybody has something in their life, right? Everyone is going through something that is very difficult. And for you to talk about how open you are to this. This is what I want for everyone. I don't want to be the only person, that people come to for help. I want them to know it's within all of them. That when you open up, that they're there and they want to help you and they want to love you. None of us are any more connected or special. We're not going to all do certain jobs. I'm not going to do what you do because you're amazing at it. And what I do is want to help to heal people and help them to stay open when they leave me. It's not about come back to me. It's about, oh my goodness, I want you to have this for yourself in your everyday life. So this is what this podcast is about. This is why, I feel so guided from above to keep wanting to do this. There's times I say, with everything else that I do, is there time for this? But then I'll keep hearing that voice in my head. No, you have to stick with this, because this is about trying to help to heal other people, right? That this is bigger than me, and it's about opening everybody up to what you already have. And you have just said this so beautifully today. I don't think there's anything, do you understand, that I could have added to what you have said?
Well, it's my pleasure because once again, I think, grief is an awful burden, but it
Mm,
doesn't mean that we're not given help. Every time I think in life, when we're faced with, you know, terrific sorrow or suffering, we're always, always, always sent helpers. Whether it be with other people coming into our lives, like when I met you, Renee, you were divinely sent to me by a friend of mine that lost their father, that needed some help and guidance with understanding the grief process, and once again understanding that because the soul went home doesn't mean that there's a permanent separation from this reality. And I think that is what helped me understand that. And also I think the important thing is to be aware and not to be closed and to suffer in silence, because you don't have to. They're helping you. Your angels, your guides, God, whatever supreme being you choose to believe in, is they're guiding you and helping you. And I feel my son every day. Um, Hand on my shoulder, I feel that a lot. Hand around me, I feel that a lot. And to embrace that, and all is good and all is well.
And Susan, what you are giving to other people, because I've got to know you a little bit and I know what kind of a person you are and your energy and what you give to people. You're just this bright light. You're such a beautiful soul, and you signed up for something in this lifetime, right? That was so difficult. And you are now helping other people, which is just absolutely incredible that you took what you're going through and you're willing to share your story with people that you meet, with coming on here today, with people you work with anyone that you know. And you're also giving them hope. You're saying to them, listen, and you're trying to get them to open up and to understand the signs. And I think there's no greater gift is when you share love with someone. And this is what this is about. It's not about judgment. This is about hope. And there's no greater gift when you give someone hope and you just say, just please let me help you. Let me show you, that there is something more. And here's how you can connect and here's how you can reach out. I always say they're not going to physically appear in front of us during broad daylight. They come to us in visitations, which is so beautiful when we receive those. They come to us in other ways. Like when you feel him, I always just feel him coming up and hugging you from the back. Like when I feel his energy, like now I see him coming up and hugging you, both arms around you. Do you understand?
Yes.
Touching the back of your head, that he just hugs you so lovingly. And when you help people with this, and we all have this within us, and I think this is what this is about. We're one miracle away from helping someone. Your miracle and your story is going to help somebody else to understand theirs. And as a collective whole in this universe, we are in this together, and it is our job. And this is why we are here, to help each other, not to hurt each other, not to put each other down, not to make people feel worse. We do that enough to our own self. right? We're so hard on ourselves. We always look for, could I have done something more? Everyone says this to me when they've gone through what you've gone through. Was it my fault? Was there something else I could have done? Did I miss something? No, no. Do you understand? There is no guilt, there is no fault, there is no blame in this. And where they are is perfect. It's us here that suffer. So when we can help people on the journey down here, it changes everything for someone else. Because I have so many people that come to me and they're where you are right now, that this is what they struggle with. This is something that is so big, Susan. It is so big. I would love for people to really talk about it more like this. I know people go, right, and they see therapists and they need to. Oh, God knows I'm not a doctor
Right.
in any way, shape, or form, and they need, to see doctors and have medical treatment. But also when you start to try to heal the soul, because you cannot disconnect the soul, the mind, the body, it's all connected. So when people can receive a message from someone that has crossed over, it changes their life. And so what it does is it opens a door for them. And that's what I want to do. I want to be that door, that gateway to open them up to saying, this is who he was. This is what he did. This was his name. This is what he liked to do. And then people will just say, how did you know that? And I always just say, because they're alive and they're always with you. It's you they want, not me. I'm just the vessel to help connect you to them. And then when you go forward, it's about you staying in that place with them because it's you they want to communicate with,
Mhm.
right? I always say I have my own, Father in heaven, that I always want to receive messages from. So we all have our own people that we love dearly. And you are giving this gift, and the way you explain it, you are very divinely connected. You truly are.
I feel
Mm.
blessed to be able to speak with you this morning. And because when this first occurred, it was so searing. The loss of a dear of a child. And I know since this happened to me, talking with other parents that have lost children, and it is beyond painful. But I think like what I've learned is that looking back and I believe that I was given this choice. You're going to have a son, but we're only going to let you have him for 30 years. What will you do? And I've thought about this many times, and I did, and I said, "Give me the baby." And so it was a privilege for me, and it is a privilege for me to be Eric's mother. And I want to honor him with living a good life and just remembering him, talking about him, and just having, like I said, a privilege. It was a privilege for me to be his mother because he taught me so many valuable lessons, and I'm better because of him.
Susan, that is probably one of the most beautiful tributes I have ever heard someone say. And I know he hears you, you know that, and that he's with you. And Catherine is there. They are all here and they are all helping you. And from the bottom of my heart, I can't thank you enough
You're
for
welcome.
having the courage and being able to tell the story and let people know how beautiful your son was. It's so important, I think, for people to understand who they were as a person and how perfect and loving and amazing they are and how loved they were and still are and will always be. And honestly, from the bottom of my heart, I cannot thank you enough for letting us know and understand who your son was and is. So thank you for taking the time to come on here, Susan.
You're welcome.
I don't think you probably understand right now how many hearts you probably healed with this and
Oh,
how many hearts you're still going to heal. And thank you so much. And I hope that we can speak again. I would love to have you back.
absolutely, Renee. It's been a privilege to speak with you today and your audience, and I thank you for the opportunity. It was a privilege for me as well.
God bless you, Susan. Take
Thank
care.
you.
Bye
Okay.
bye.
Bye bye.